Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Susan.
Hello.
Look at that sunshine. He is not in Pennsylvania.
Oh, he is.
It's raining there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm North Carolina.
It's Your God Call with Reverend Bill.
If you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. So the difference isn't whether you can do something or not. The difference is whether or not you believe in yourself enough to give it a try, to give it a go, to set your sights on a home run and swing for the fences. Because if you believe you can, you're right. So play ball.
Come live in the light, shine with the joy and the love of a God. We are called to be light for a kingdom, to live in a freedom of a city in God. We are called to act with justice. We are called to love tenderly. We are called to serve one another, to walk humbly in God. Sing, sing a new song. Sing of a great day when all will be one, God in us, as we walk with each other as brothers and sisters, united in love. We are called to act with justice. We are called to love tenderly. We are called to serve one another, to walk humbly as God.
Beautiful, beautiful, Dawn. Thank you. Thank you so much. And good morning, New Thought Philadelphia. Welcome back to another Sunday. It is it's Passover. It's Palm Sunday. It is the opportunity for you to let that bright light that's the truth of you shine. We are on Zoom again, although we're starting to think about what's going to be like post-Zoom. So that's a little bit exciting now. Nothing you need to worry about for the next week or two. But we're going to continue thinking about that sort of thing. And so being Zoom, we observe Zoom etiquette, make sure that everybody's audio is muted so that we don't make cacophony with everybody talking over each other, except a couple of times like now, where I invite you to unmute your microphone and repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to joy.
I open myself to my personal springtime.
I
open myself
to
my
personal
springtime.
I know love is right here, right now.
I
know
know
love
that
is
right here,
love
right
is
now.
Right here, right now.
Right now.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Okay, mute button's back on. I'm Reverend Bill Marcioni. Our music today is the illustrious Dawn Hyatt. Thank you so much for joining us. And our practitioner and MC for the day is Breen Rourke, RSCP.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning, everyone. Yay, we're together again. New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you here today, wherever you're headed next, we've been waiting for you. We love you. Welcome. Now, we believe there is one power, love, force, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, that creates everything, including each of us. And that we all use that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. Or as we like to say, our new life begins with a new thought. I invite you now just to take a moment and silence any unnecessary electronic devices, anything you're not using to Zoom, so your phone doesn't ring or your alarm doesn't go off. And we'll settle into the celebration. And we'll kick it off the way we like to start everything, with a practical prayer. So I will lead us in a prayer this morning. So I invite you just to settle in wherever you are into this now moment, because wherever you are, whether you're in Philadelphia or the greater Philadelphia region, anywhere in the Delaware Valley, whether you're in the Jersey Shore, New Orleans, Arizona, North Carolina, or if you're even in the United Kingdom, it doesn't matter, because wherever you are here now, because we're always here now in this one moment. That's all there is, that one power, love, intelligence, that force, that creative energy that expresses itself always in this now moment as each of us, as the technology that brings us together, as the words, the music, the ideas, as New Thought Philadelphia. It's all love unfolding. So this time together is blessed, it's sacred, it's special. It is a celebration of spirit, and I am so grateful for it. I'm grateful for all these bright lights of love that have come to share and join together today. So with love and gratitude, I claim good and more good for this celebration and release this word into the law, knowing that it is so. And so it is. Yay! Alrighty, so do you know why we pray? Because it works. Prayer works. And that is this next little segment we like to call Prayer Work Story. So if you've got a story of how prayer is working in your life, you can wave your hand. I'll see you in the Zoom, or you can click on the reaction button. I see Dina with her hand up.
Hey. Good.
Hey.
So this isn't exactly my story, but I was a part of the story. Last week, I had a meeting of students of mine that get together on a monthly basis, and they're a very bonded cohort. And one of the people was talking about her experience of having sold her house in Brooklyn, but being turned down for 5 different houses that she was trying to get into. So she is lamenting the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to take me and my 5 kids and live in a hotel or something. And she was like, so we all all of us collectively in the group just sprang up prayer for her. And it was perfect, okay? And everybody was saying, your house is on its way. That perfect house is right here, right now. Everybody did it in a perfect form, if you will. It was so beautiful. Everybody surrounded her. And a day later, she's like, you people can pray for me anytime. We just got the house. And it was such a great story that even though it wasn't my story, it was such a demonstration and so sweet. And she's so happy. And here's a picture of the pool, she says. So it's like awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, get me the list of names. You guys pray for me.
Okay. Powerful
Beautiful.
women. There you go.
Beautiful. Who else? Chris?
Yeah, I've been a part of a few Bible studies, so I've been like getting deeper into understanding God's word and light, and it's brought new revelations to just what the whole thing is about, the light and the love, and been praying. I have a prayer intentions list for everybody, and then I send out emails, not emails, text messages every morning to friends, like a Bible verse and a positive affirmation, and people are just kind of casting that net. Like, I feel like I'm called to cast that net, and like, it's pretty amazing. And I feel like I'm in a process of transformation.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I've got a quick one. I've been praying about, health and wholeness, and I talked a little bit last week with Reverend Jean and planting the seed and really grasping this idea of letting go of the how and just letting it be. And this week I ran 3 times with Jack, and I didn't eat any cereal because I've been eating maybe 2 to 4 bowls of cereal a day. So, yeah, and I planned to start running again. And I bought running shoes for that purpose, but, I don't have a big plan because I'm letting go of the how and just letting it be. And it's awesome. So prayer works. Whatever you need, if you want a house, health, wholeness, and experience of the light, prayer works. I highly recommend it. Okay. And now,
Patty had waved her hand.
oh, Patty did.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I have a house story too. We redid the house like a couple years ago, and then we put it on the market, and then COVID hit. So it was on the market for a whole year and nothing. So we took it off the market, and then we rented it. And then I was last week, it was a week ago, I put it in the market again, and then I prayed that it would sell for the price I wanted. And it took a week. I mean, it's not sold yet, but we got a good offer, a very good offer. Well, price, the price that I wanted. So we're in the process. So it worked.
Fantastic. Yep, it works. Wonderful. And now we have Sandy with the announcements.
This spring bouquet of information can be found on our website at newthoughtphilly.org and in our weekly e-newsletter. Please sign up for it on the website. Spiritual Economics is an 8-week class in prosperity on Thursday evenings beginning this week. All success principles are actually spiritual principles. This powerful series is about using them to produce a more prosperous experience of life, financial and otherwise. Reverend Bill and Breen are the facilitators. The fee is $180 and payment plans are available. Lack of funds is exactly the reason you need to be in this class. Twice a day, we have a community check-in and meditation on Zoom. They're inspiring and fun and are less than 15 minutes. Everyone is welcome. Anton, which is the affiliated New Thought Network, is holding a free 1-day retreat on Friday, April 16th. There'll be 3 keynote sessions, an all-star concert, and lots of interesting and fun breakout rooms, including a New Thought Prayathon and a dance party led by the New Thought Philly Groove team. Woohoo! We'd love to have you follow New Thought Philly on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and join the Philly Spiritual Adventurers group on meetup.com. The women's group meets on the 4th Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Contact Joe or myself, Sandy, for info. I have my contact information on the chat. The regional men's group meets the 3rd Monday every month at 7 p.m. by Zoom. And a new Power of 8 Intention Circle begins on Monday, April 12th at 7 p.m. They're a half-hour long. Contact me, Sandy, for info. Please mark your calendar for Friday, May 7th from 7:30 to 8:30 for our social scramble. What is a social scramble, you ask? It is speed dating for friendship, an opportunity for two people at a time to meet in a breakout room and get to know each other better. Thank you to the production team and presenters who make our Zoom celebration work. There's a short technical rehearsal on Saturday afternoons and a final check-in before the celebration on Sunday. To join the team, contact Carla Ann, who will put her contact information in the chat. Next Sunday, Reverend Bill talks about rising from the ashes, the mythical phoenix, and how we each repeat that transformation in our own lives. Music by Prodigal Son, John Francis. Reverend Bill and the practitioners are available by appointment for professional prayer. After the celebration today, Breen will be available for a Miracle in a Minute prayer at no charge, and we'll leave this Zoom meeting open for people to talk among ourselves after the service. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Mhm.
And when we get together in person, we have a special gift and a blessing for the people who are there for the second time. We also have a blessing and a welcome packet for people who are there for the first time. In virtual days, the information that you would normally get in the welcome packet is all on the website. Plus, you can sign up for the e-newsletter so that we stay in touch with you that way and have your contact information. The blessing we will do remotely. So if there's anybody who's here for the first time, just wave your hand so we know who you are. Excellent. Welcome, Joanne. And you just received, the rest of us are going to rub our hands together to generate a little warmth so that we're feeling the love. And Miranda as well. First time, go ahead. When you're feeling the love, go ahead and send that out. So we know that you are the bright light of God's love. Thank you so much for shining your light and sharing your love with us today. And welcome. The next song is our greeting song, which is normally where we would wander around the room and either elbow bump if it was getting close to the pandemic, or hug back in the good old days of irresponsibility. For what we're going to do right now is during the song, just go into gallery view and make eye contact with the other folks in the group. Just say hi. Dawn?
There is an endless song echoes in my soul. I hear the music ring, and though the storms may come, I am holding on to this rock I cling. How can I keep from singing praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is love? How can I keep from shouting praise? I know I am loved by the ones that make my heart wanna sing. So I will lift my eyes in the darkest night, and my laughter it will live. And as I walk with you, knowing you'll see me through, I sing the songs you give. How can I keep from singing praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is love? How can I keep from shouting praise? I know I am loved by the ones that make my heart wanna sing. So I will lift my eyes in the darkest night, and my laughter it will live. And as I walk with you, knowing you'll see me through, I sing the songs you give. How can I keep from singing praise? How can I ever say enough? How amazing is love? How can I keep from shouting praise? I know I am loved by the ones that make sing.
That's beautiful, Dawn. Thank you so much. Patty is going to lead us in the Flames of Faith ritual this morning.
I'm sorry, okay, I got it. We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one power, love, intelligence, which we call Spirit of God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual practices. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experience for the healing flame of God's eternal love.
Blessed be. Our reading today comes all the way from New Orleans, and Hannah is going to share a writing from Emmett Fox.
So this is from the Golden Key. Prayer will enable you sooner or later to get yourself or anyone else out of any difficulty on the face of the earth. It is the golden key to harmony and happiness. To those who have no acquaintance with the mightiest power in existence, this may appear to be a rash claim, but it needs only a fair trial to prove that without a shadow of a doubt, it is a just one. You need take no one's word for it, and you should not. Simply try it for yourself and see. God is omnipotent, and man is his image and likeness, and has dominion over all things. This is the inspired teaching, and it is intended to be taken literally at its face value. Man means every man, and so the ability to draw on this power is not the special prerogative of the mystic or the saint, as is so often supposed, or even of the highly trained practitioner. Whoever you are, wherever you may be, the golden key to harmony is in your hand now. This is because in scientific prayer, it is God who works and not you, and so your particular limitations or weaknesses are of no account in the process. You are only the channel through which the divine action takes place, and your treatment will really be just the getting of yourself out of the way. Beginners often get startling results at the first time of trying. For all that is absolutely essential is to have an open mind and sufficient faith to try the experiment. Apart from that, you may hold any views on religion or none. As for the actual method of working, like all fundamental things, it is simplicity itself. All that you have to do is this: Stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. This is the complete rule. And if only you will do this, the trouble, whatever it is, will presently disappear. It makes no difference what kind of trouble it is. It may be a big thing or a little thing. It may concern health, finance, a lawsuit, a quarrel, an accident, or anything else conceivable. But whatever it is, just stop thinking about it and think of God instead. That is all you have to do. The thing could not be simpler, could it? God himself could scarcely have made it simpler, and yet it never fails to work when given a fair trial. Do not try to form a picture of God, which is impossible. Work by rehearsing anything or everything that you know about God. God is wisdom, truth, inconceivable love. God is present everywhere, has infinite power, knows everything, and so on. It matters not how well you may think you understand these things. Go over them repeatedly. But you must stop thinking of the trouble, whatever it is. The rule is to think about God. And if you are thinking about your difficulty, you are not thinking about God. To be continually glancing over your shoulder, as it were, in order to see how matters are progressing is fatal, because that is thinking of the trouble, and you must think of God and of nothing else. Your object is to drive the thought of the difficulty right out of your consciousness, for a few moments at least, substituting for it the thought of God. This is the crux of the whole thing. If you can become so absorbed in this consideration of the spiritual world that you really forget for a while all about the trouble concerning with which you began to pray, you will presently find that you are safely and comfortably out of your difficulty, that your demonstration is made.
In the time of my confession, in the hour of my deepest need, when pools of tears beneath my feet flood every newborn seed, there's a dying voice within me, reaching out somewhere, toiling in the danger, in the morals of despair. Don't have the inclination to look back on any mistake. Like Cain, I now behold the chain of events that I must break. In the fury of the moment, I can see the master's hand in every leaf that trembles, in every grain of sand. The flowers of indulgence and the weeds of yesteryear, like criminals, they choke the breath of conscience and good cheer. The sun beat down upon the steps of time to light the way, to ease the pain of idleness and the memory of decay. Oh, I gaze into the doorway of temptation's angry flame, and every time I pass that way, I always hear my name. Then onward in my journey, come to understand that every hair is numbered, like every grain of sand. ashes, the sorrow of the night, and the violence of a summer's dream in the chill of wintry light, in the bitter dance of loneliness, fading into space, the broken mirror of innocence on each forgotten face. Oh, I hear the ancient footsteps like the motion of the sea. Sometimes I turn, there's someone there, other times it's only me. I am hanging in the balance of a perfect crafted plan, like every sparrow falling, like every grain of sand.
That is beautiful, Dawn. Thank you so much. So it's Passover. It's Palm Sunday. It reminded me of a story of a rabbi sits on a park bench next to a blind man, and the rabbi gets out matzah. He's eating the matzah, and he decides to be generous, and he gives a piece to his companion on the park bench. A few minutes later, the blind man says, "Who wrote this?" The talk today is the pivot. And that's an example of we're thinking about it in one direction, and it's actually, you can think of it in a different direction. And humor is fun because it takes things and puts them where they don't necessarily belong. And I love using humor as part of relating the New Thought teachings. And part of it is because we don't have to take ourselves so seriously. We don't need to be pious in order to be practical in our spirituality. When I was in high school, the driver's ed teacher was Mr. Kulik, and he taught us that when we get in the car, we should scan the instruments on the dashboard. Scan the instruments to understand the engine temperature and the oil pressure and the speed and the engine RPMs or whatever it was that was important to us. And there were a couple of points about that. First of all, is that you want to scan rather than just stare at one of the instruments instead of paying attention to the road. But you also didn't want to ignore them. As we heard last week, if you ignore the engine temperature light long enough, eventually you don't just have an engine temperature issue, you have an engine replacement issue. And it's important to understand what's on the dashboard, because the instruments that you're looking at, the indicators that are coming in from your life around you, are the ones that tell you what it is that you either are going to be doing next or want to be doing next. The car will drive in the direction that you have it pointed. It will not always drive in that direction. Sometimes it will go backwards. It's very unlikely that it's going to move sideways. But what we want to do is use the controls that we have and the indicators that we have, and as guidance for what we want to do next in our lives. I have a prayer work story. I shared it at the dress rehearsal this morning. In our women's circle, which is one of the groups that I do not participate in, I discovered that the group is using the 4 questions from Robert D. McDonald, and that's awesome. There's absolutely no requirement that any of our groups do that. Basically, a small group at New Thought Philadelphia is a bunch of people who get together and welcome anybody who wants to be in the group who's qualified for it. I do an opening prayer, and then basically that does enough of the work in consciousness to make that be an expression of New Thought Philadelphia. And the Women's Circle kicked it up a notch. It's wonderful. And when we're talking about the pivot from, as Emmett Fox was saying, looking at the problem to looking at something better. And Emmett says you don't even need to look at what the solution is. If you turn from the problem to an awareness of God, that's all that's required. That's all that's required, because that divine power and presence will bring the new experience to you. So a lot of times we talk about if the problem is over here, if the darkness is over here, we know that the light is over our shoulder and we need to turn towards the light, turn towards the good. Now, in some cases, we know exactly what it is that we want to be experiencing instead. In some cases, we just know that we are experiencing some dissatisfaction or discontent with the circumstances the way that they are now. So the first question that Robert has us ask is, are you happy with the experience of life that you're having now? It's a yes or no question. Am I happy with my current experience of life? And if the answer is yes, then that's just fine. What we want to do is, we're done. Basically, we're going to continue working the program that we've been working to have the experience of life that we've been having. If the answer to that is no, then the second question is, what is the experience of life that I want to be having instead? And that's crucial, because sometimes there are ideas of things that we want to do, or experiences we want to have, or ways we want to engage with life. And they're very practical and we yearn for them, and that's going to lead us to wonderful fulfillment in our lives. And other times they're a fantasy. They're things that we think are delightful and awesome and wonderful, but they're not in our life now. And it's maybe because we don't actually want them. We like the idea of them, but don't want to do it. Great song from back in the 70s, done by Rupert Holmes, no relation to Ernest. And it's called, the actual title of the song is Escape, but people think of it as the Pina Colada song. You know, do you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, yada, 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 yada. And it's really romantic and it's fun. And do you like getting caught in the rain? Really? It's raining here at the beach, and I'm glad I'm inside. So even though that's an exotic, fun sounding sort of thing, in some cases it becomes completely impractical. On the other hand, maybe you do like getting caught in the rain. I had to drop some papers off at Breen's house earlier this week, and it was raining. And there's a spot in front of his neighbor's house that fills up with water and mud and gets quite messy. And there were two little boys, probably 4 years old, and they were having a time stomping in the mud, splashing each other, making the biggest mess you can imagine. And they were delighted by it. So it's not that getting in the mud is good or bad in and of itself. It's how we're engaging with it. What are my indicators telling me? What's my dashboard telling me about that experience? Is that something that I like? Is that something that I don't like? The other thing that we really, really want to be able to pay attention to is, what are the indicators telling us? What do those telltales mean? There's a story, and the number is 3.6 Roentgens per hour. And if you recognize that number, then you know the story. And since you probably don't recognize that number, I will tell you that in the nuclear accident in Chernobyl, when the plant first blew up, the people in the control room checked their radiation dosimeters to see what kind of radiation there was. And it said that it was 3.6 Roentgens per hour, which is 10,000 micro Roentgens per second, I think. So it's 3.6. It's bad, but it's not awful. I think that was the quote. It's bad, but it's not terrible. Unfortunately, what nobody took into account is that those particular dosimeters measured up to 10,000 micro Roentgens per second, or 3.6 per hour. That was their maximum reading. So basically, it was hitting the pin on the needle. That's like having a car that'll go 55 miles an hour and a speedometer that only goes to 10. It's going to go up to 10 and it's going to stay there. You're driving 55. You don't know. It turns out it was 50,000. Oops, went from terrible to really, really terrible. So you got to make sure that your instruments are giving you the full story. And even more importantly, it's crucial to not be relying on an instrument that can't tell you what it is that you need to know. If I'm having some dissatisfaction in my experience of life, the answer to that first question is no, I'm not happy with the life experience I'm having now. Then I need to understand what it is about my life experience that I'm not satisfied with, because that lets me set the new invitation. Now, that's one of the things that turning to God is very good for. We turn our attention to the infinite. We allow ourselves to be guided, to be enlightened and illuminated, as to what it is that the change that we're inviting. Sometimes the situation gets better all by itself and we don't really know exactly what was bothering us. Maybe we find out about it in hindsight. But the idea is when we're doing that pivot, when we're turning away from the darkness, from what we don't like, and opening ourselves up to a new experience, we want to be open to what is the circumstances that, or the situation, what's going on inside of me that makes me be unhappy with this. Because, you know, if I'm sitting in a room and the walls are painted pink and I'm very unhappy, and I conclude that it's because I don't like pink, and I go and I repaint the room and I'm still unhappy, I haven't gotten the right indicator. And it's not that there's anything bad with painting a pink room. It's just that what we want to be able to do is open ourselves up to the good that we're seeking. And the indicators are very helpful in doing that, in telling us who we are, what we're about, and lets us make that pivot to the experience that we want to be having instead. So the first question is, am I happy with the life experience I'm having now? The second one is, if the answer to question number one is no, what experience do I want to be having instead? And the next thing we get to do, the third question, is we get to quantify that a little bit. Once I have that new experience, how will I know that I have it? So if I'm unhappy and I think it's because the walls are painted the wrong color, the answer to that third question is, how will I know? Once I have it, how will I know that I have it? Well, I know that the walls are no longer pink. The walls are a nice neutral beige. And if that's what we're looking for, if we're just looking to change the color of the wall, then the answer to question number three is different than, I will know that I have it because I will be feeling a delight and a spring in my step. We want to be able to we want to specify what it is that we're seeking, what it is that we're inviting, so that once we have that in our life, we know that we have it. And oh, by the way, if I thought painting the walls was going to make me happy and it doesn't, then I get to go back and do questions 1, 2, and 3 again. Once I have it, how will I know that I have it? The indicators are sometimes really obvious. You know, when your car wants you to put on your seatbelt, it'll flash a light, it'll ding a noise. It will basically, there are some cars that'll just pester you until you put your seatbelt on. And they're pretty obvious, you know, the light that says fasten seatbelt. Usually they're not that subtle. But I learned some indicators recently, and things that you don't necessarily understand, like IMC. IMC, as it applies to flight, is instrument meteorological conditions. That's where they're not able to use visual flight rules. They have to rely on instruments in order to be able to fly the plane. And flying a plane on instruments is different than flying a plane visually. Visually is the way that everybody learns in the first place to fly a plane, and instruments is much more complicated, it's more expensive. It turns out that when somebody is flying a plane and they only understand how to fly it visually and they get caught under cloud cover, it's really, really dangerous because they can't see the ground. And planes that come too close to the ground have problems. The other thing that happens is there is a tendency when a pilot loses the visual reference is they start overreacting. They start pushing too hard or pulling too hard on the control yoke, and their senses, the pilot's senses, actually mislead them. So it is possible for somebody who's in the clouds flying a small plane to do a roll, to completely turn the plane upside down because they think the horizon is where it is and they don't have the visual reference to do that. There are things that pilots can do if they find themselves suddenly caught in the clouds. And I learned this morning. I'm just diving into all sorts of stuff on Wikipedia because having that frame of reference, having that dashboard, understanding what the instruments are telling us is so important. So, and they call it the 4 C's. When a pilot finds himself suddenly in instrument meteorological conditions. The first C is climb. get some more altitude. Being higher up is the sort of thing that just is never bad in an airplane. Well, until it gets to the top, never mind. The second thing is communicate, climb and communicate. So they want to get in touch with ground control and see if they can get some help. The third one is confess. And I thought that was really interesting. What they want to do is tell the people on the ground, oops, I'm in trouble. I need help. And then they need to comply. That's the fourth C. So there's going to be guidance and wisdom coming to them, and they need to comply with that and do what they're being told to do, because the people on the ground are going to do the best they can to help them get back onto the ground safely. The air traffic controller can't fly the plane, but they're going to do the best that they can. So in all of those areas, there are ways that we can use the indicators and understand what they mean. I now understand what a DE error is. And you guys are going, that's 2 letters. 3 weeks ago, our washing machine stopped working and the little indicator panel said DE. So I got out the instruction manual. I said, what's a DE? That's a door error. Ah, fascinating. So we called the repair guy and he had his troubleshooting manual. I said, well, it's either the door latch or the motherboard or the wiring harness. We're going to go with the door latch. Usually it's the door latch. So we put in a new door latch. Let's put out a DE and a DO. Well, now we got a new motherboard that's going to go in next week, and we get to continue working on the situation. Now that's really easy. I can look at a washing machine that's not washing the clothes and say, I can pivot to something better. I am not happy with the experience of life that I'm having. What I'm inviting is a washing machine that works. And it becomes really obvious. We have to understand what the indicators are telling us so that we can move in the direction that we desire. And possibly the biggest thing for us to do is surrender. We know how things used to be. We know in some cases what it was that we were involved in that brought about the circumstances that brought us that first question, am I happy with the circumstance, the situation I'm having now? The answer to that is no. But if we're not happy with the situation we've been having, it came from the activities and the consciousness that we were immersed in that brought it into our being. So what we need to do is surrender. We need to let go of our attachment to being able to continue doing things the way that we've been doing them so that we can open ourselves up to something new. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result is the very definition of insanity. So let's pivot away from whatever that insanity might have been and open ourselves up to something new. Am I ready to put this stuff down? Am I ready to put these things away so that I can have a different experience of my life? And when we say yes to that, the infinite is always ready to say yes right back to us. We turn away from the problem and turn ourselves to that infinite power and presence that creates everything, and all of the good is available to us, whether we can define exactly how it's going to work or not. So that's the invitation for each of us and for all of us as we go into Easter week and prepare for our rebirth and retransformation and whatever celebration you're going to be having this week. Invite something wonderful because you deserve it. So it is.
For the beauty of the earth, for the beauty of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. God of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. for the beauty of each hour of the day and of the night. Hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. God of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Joy of human love, brother, sister, parent, child, friends on earth and friends above, treasures pure and undefiled. God of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For each perfect gift divine, to our race so freely given, grace is human and divine, flowers of earth and buds of heaven. God of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Thank you, Dawn. It's beautiful. And thank you, Bill, for your message. So we're going to take a little time to do some meditation. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to try to tie some things together, and then we'll sit in some silence for a bit. So I don't know, some of you may know this, some of you may not. It's a little bit about the business of our celebration. Generally speaking, the practitioner of the day is responsible for selecting the reading, and then we get it to the person who's going to read it. In the old days, we would bring the book to the CA house. And these days, we take pictures of things or send PDFs and what have you. You know, I had selected the Golden Key by Emmett Fox because I thought it tied in really well with what Bill was talking about. But what I sent to Hannah to read was an excerpt of it. It's the first 3/4 of it, because we're trying to fit the reading in a certain time frame. It's a lot longer, but it's available online if you want to search Emmett Fox Golden Key. It's in the public domain. There's a PDF. But I say all that to say, I want to read a little bit more of that. This is what Emmett says about how to use the Golden Key, which was what we're going to do in our meditation. In order to Golden Key a troublesome person or difficult situation, think, now I am going to key John or Mary or that threatened danger. Then proceed to drive all thought of John or Mary or the danger right out of your mind, replacing it by the thought of God. So that's what we're going to do in our meditation. So just for a brief moment, I invite you, and don't think too hard about it, something that's troubling you. some difficulty in your life, something you want to see different, just briefly call that to mind. All right, good. We all got something that's bugging us that we don't want in our lives anymore. Great. Now we're going to forget about it. So I invite you to get settled into your chair, wherever you are, maybe feet flat on the floor. I find it back straight and palms up in my lap, a very comfortable and conducive meditation position. And just relax. I'm going to take a series of deep breaths. With each breath, we're going to breathe in deeply and hold it for just a moment to feel a little tension. And then we're going to relax, exhale fully and allow ourselves to relax. And each breath, we're going to relax even deeper and deeper. So, breathing in, deep inhale. Hold. Exhale. Relax. Breathing in. Hold, exhale, and relax. Once more, breathing in fully. Hold, and exhale, and just relax. Feel the tension melt away. You can close your eyes or allow them to go a soft focus. Allow your breathing to find a gentle, even rhythm, whatever's comfortable for you. Just be here in this moment. Breathing in and out. Feel the air move across your lips or nostrils. Feel your chest or your belly rise and fall. And just breathe. I invite you to contemplate the idea, God is with me. Because God, the great being, divine spirit, the universe, infinite potential, that force, whatever we choose to call it, is always with us. Because we are expressions of that creative power. We are manifest from that source. So God is always with us. I invite you just to repeat that to yourself in rhythm with your breath. God is with me. God is with me. If you find your thoughts drifting, just lovingly and gently bring your thought back. God is with me. Breathing in and out into the silence. God is with me.
God is with me. That infinite power and presence expresses itself as me. That limitless intelligence thinks through me. That limitless potential flows as me. God knows what is mine to do next. And it's revealed to me at the perfect time, in the perfect way, in the perfect clarity. That's what's unfolding for each of us. As we open our inner ear to allow that still small voice to be heard, it guides us and allows the next new experience to unfold in ways that bring more health and vitality, more comfort and prosperity, more richness and sweetness, more creativity and love and connection and depth into our experience of life. And as that process unfolds for each of us individually, for all of us together, we don't need to pay attention to what the problem was to begin with. We simply open ourselves up to what's new, to what's next, and allow the infinite to guide it and guide us, create that new experience in ways that might be completely unexpected, but in hindsight are completely reasonable. That's the process that's unfolding now, in and through and as each of us. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the good. I'm grateful for the wonderful new experience. I'm grateful for the prayer work stories that are even now on the way. And I'm grateful to be able to speak this word of intention and release it to that same creative law that has created everything. And I know it's once again created. It is active now. This good is already being returned fulfilled. And so I release this word into that creative law and I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Take another deep, intentional breath. Let it go. Bring some motion back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe shrug your shoulders. And when you're comfortable, go ahead and open your eyes. Dawn does another song for us.
Keeper of light, you delight in your children. Keeper of light, you delight in your children. And every good, perfect gift comes from you. And every good and perfect gift is in you. Keeper of light, you never change, you have no turning. Keeper of light, you never change, you have no turning. Every good and perfect gift comes from you. And every good, perfect gift is in you. Mother of lights, you delight in your children. Mother of lights, you delight in your children. Every good, perfect gift comes from you. Every good and perfect gift comes from you. light. You never change, you have no turning. Every good, perfect gift comes from you. Every good, perfect gift comes from you. Keeper of light, keeper of light. Keeper of light. Every good and perfect gift comes from you. Every good and perfect gift is in you.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Yeah. And thank you, Breen. And thank you all for playing the home game. As we like to say, we go through the first hour or so of this celebration planting seeds, and then we get to this portion and we get to see what's germinating for you, what's coming up, what are you going to give voice to today? So you can use the reaction button. You can wave your hand if you've got something that you'd like to share with your group. Was that Chris waving? Sarah, you go first.
Just it's kind of a silly thought process, but you kept talking about the indicator lights, and I was in yesterday was like a beautiful, glorious day, and for some reason I was just like, I don't know, it just wasn't sitting right, and I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I know that this is exactly the type of day that I love, and I don't know what's wrong with me. And so I had an indicator light that was indicating you need to figure out what this is indicating. So I think it's funny that today, this is the conversation that we're having, and I'm realizing that if anyone has seen that movie Runaway Bride, where she has to reintroduce herself to things to figure out what she likes again, I'm using this as a fun re-invitation to be like, you've lived this 31 years of your life up until now, but what do you like now? And giving myself a kind of like how your taste buds change over time, introducing myself to being it's okay. You can pick up the same things that you've liked, or you can pick something new, and just being okay with not necessarily knowing why, but being open to figuring it out. So I feel a lot better about yesterday, today, hearing all of this. So I don't know if that helps, but that's where my head is at.
Perfect. Thank you. And sometimes there's stuff going on and we don't understand the nuance and complexity. So Sarah is on the list to be texted for the Season for Nonviolence every day at 11 o'clock. And when Sarah's in her car at 11 o'clock in the morning, I get a text back from her Centra telling me that she can't talk right now because she's driving. And that's completely out of our hands. It's just a thing that's going on. And we get to understand what it is a little bit later. Breen, did you have your hand up?
I did. I wanted to share two things. One interesting thing around indicators. So I'd been feeling kind of sluggish and kind of meh, and put on some weight, and I thought it was pandemic and winter time, and coincidentally, I had some blood tests, just general blood work as a physical, annual physical, my doctor. And it turns out that I'm on this sort of borderline with my thyroid of hypothyroidism, which can result in fatigue and just sort of feeling meh and weight gain. So there was an indicator of my TSH, thyroid sending hormone, was high, which means my brain is saying, hey, you need more hormone. So I got a prescription for a little tiny pill of synthetic hormone, and we'll see how that goes. And it's like, oh, there's an indicator. So it was interesting to me, because I didn't call the doctor because I was feeling this way. It was just It was like, oh, by the way. And then I want to share a quick prayer work story. There's this window right behind me and a rain gutter on the roof, and the downspouts right there. And the downspout is clogged, and then the rain overflows and crashes down on my windowsill, and it very, very, very loud. And I was concerned because this morning it was very loud, and I knew I was doing the meditation today. So I said a practical prayer that it's going to be fine, and it's not raining, and it wasn't raining that hard during the meditation, so there was no noise in my window. So there you go.
Perfect. Perfect. And we know that it didn't stop raining. It just stopped raining where you are.
Right. And that was the prayer. It can rain wherever it wants, just not during meditation.
Right. There you go. Last one, Michael, go ahead.
Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've been here, but I'm grateful that I came today. I like the C's, climb, confess, and comply. There might have been one more, but those are the ones that stuck with me. Yeah, I've been working on like surrendering and realizing that everything is in God's time, and I'm just like an instrument. I just need to let go and get out of the way. But it was helpful to hear that message today. I'm in an apartment now. A very prosperous apartment for myself right now, and yeah, I'm just like it couldn't have happened any other way. I just have to let go and let it happen. So yeah, with that I'll pass. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Sandy, you're next.
Okay, New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you share helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We're grateful for every way you share. We don't have a basket today, but there's a donate button on the website to make a donation by credit card or PayPal. You can also mail a check to our office in Ardmore. The offering affirmation is on the screen. We'll say the affirmation together. I live
in an abundant universe.
I am one with the infinite source of all good.
Source of all good. I'm center of conscious prosperity.
I enjoy the
richness of life. I bless my gifts. I share my gifts with gratitude and joy.
I know
that as I give, I do receive.
So it is.
So it is.
I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. Be alright, be alright, be alright. I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. Yeah, I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. Be alright, be alright, be alright. I've got a feeling. 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 I've got a feeling everything is gonna be alright. Be alright. Be alright. Be alright.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And now we're going to, this is where we virtually form a circle and hold hands and repeat after me. So go ahead and unmute your microphone if you'd like to do that. I am light.
I am light.
I am love.
I am love.
I am love.
The indicator light says, I am love.
The indicator light. I am love.
I let it blink.
I let it
I
blink.
let it blink.
I let it shine.
I let it shine.
Joe.
So it is.
So it is.
So it
It
is.
is.
Oh, it is.
Arf, arf.
Ah,
Something in there about letting the rain wash everything clean, but